15 years from now, we should try to envision a standard of living in this country that looks a lot more like Europe does now. The concept of a large home and a large car and the distance that we drive, you know, we've set ourselves up in this country for a way of life that is totally dependent on the automobile. And if we don't, you know, I can't imagine even functioning without a car. I don't know how anyone can in this day and age, unless you live in an urban metropolis. So our entire country is based on the automobile, and we found that automobiles burn fossil fuels. By the way, gasoline is a #1 cancer causer with benzene in it. We burn fossil fuels. The cars we make 90 million cars in the world right now, and the world car market is only 30 million cars. They make cars in China, they make cars in India, and our whole system is based on the car. So it's gonna, I can't imagine how it's gonna play out, but I think we're gonna see much smaller cars, much more energy efficient cars. I think we're gonna see a standard of living that's much lower. And I don't see how, I think we're going to see a move away from colleges and universities. You're not going to see the PhD in political science is one thing, but an undergraduate degree in political science or an undergraduate degree in communications or some of these other things, they're wonderful, but there's no corporations out there to hire you. It's becoming much more an entrepreneurial society where each individual is going to use their own resources. So we should anticipate a lot more smaller businesses, a lot more smaller companies. The skills that you want, you might get from trade schools, you might get accounting degree, you might take classes to get your accounting degree and classes to get your computer science up to speed. But to sit in a liberal arts college and spend $40,000, $50,000 a year to get an education that's worthless, I think the U.S. is going to rethink that one. And I think that's the biggest change we're going to see in the next 15 years. And as so often is the case, that when those assets that we've all saved for college are now gotten crushed by the stock market's move, it becomes a lot more palatable to tell your kids, you know, maybe college isn't for you. It's funny how that happens, but it does. And you know, but I think that that's the thing. You know, we all have this leave it to Beaver kind of concept, and you know, leave it to Beaver, if I'm not mistaken, was Southern Illinois. So we can think. You know, I always love that show. And you know, Ward works at the insurance company, and he comes home, and you know, it's all a certain way. But I don't see how we're going to employ all of the college graduates in white-collar jobs going forward. But just, you know, someone's got to do the work. Someone's got to do the heavy lifting. And as much as we'd all like to sit in offices and push paper around, I just don't see how we can all do it and stay in business. So I encourage any college student or younger, when they ask me, and it's a very tough situation. We remember, I hope I don't make anyone blush, but do you remember the movie, no, I don't remember the movie, with Benjamin and Mrs. Robinson? Graduate. Well, when Benjamin comes home and he says to Mr. Robinson, you know, I'm thinking about the future, he goes, plastics, plastics, you know, and then, of course, that's where you go. Can anyone here think of anything now that you would tell a kid to go into? I mean, there's just no industry that sounds that great or that invigorating. We're really banging our head against the technological barriers right now. So I tell kids accounting. I've been telling them, get accounting degrees. You learn a lot about business, you learn how to understand business, and you'll be able to work in a company or in a situation and make a living. But they're not going to be big jobs where you get the training program and you work for 3 years and you move your way up the corporate ladder. And I think that kind of thinking is going to go by the wayside in the next 15 years.